With Flux having been out for almost 2 weeks now, it was only a matter of time before we started to get the tools and workflows that we've become accustomed to with Stable Diffusion. And thus, the first FLUX Controlnet model is out. Today we're going to explore the Canny Controlnet models and how we can use them with Flux to exercise greater control over the images that we're trying to generate. I'm Endangered AI, and let's get plugged in. Now, before we begin, we need to install the new Controlnet models. They can be found over on Hugging Face, and there are 2 versions available. There is the XLabs one and the Instant X one. Now, I've been using the XLabs one, as the Instant X one has given me a couple of errors here and there. However, the installation process is exactly the same for both. Once you've downloaded them, head on over to your Comfy UI folder, go into Models, Controlnet, and you can go ahead and place the models here. If you want to be organized when you download them, make sure that you rename them to something helpful. Because I have both models installed, I have them renamed as XLabs AI Controlnet.SafeTensors and Instant X Controlnet.SafeTensors. Once you've done that, head on over into Comfy UI. As usual, I've set up a workflow here for us to go over with Controlnet already set up and ready to use. If you want to follow along, I suggest you download the base FLUX Comfy UI workflow. Again, link is down below, as we will be building off of it to add in the Controlnet components. The main nodes that are relevant to today's exercise are the Load Controlnet model, Apply Controlnet, Canny, and FLUX guidance. All of these should be available with the base Comfy UI. If you go ahead and load the relevant nodes, in this case, Load Controlnet model, Canny, Apply Controlnet, and of course, FLUX guidance, which should actually already be set up in your existing workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. If you want to set this up, go ahead and drag it out of the workflow, as we will be adding in some additional steps between this. The first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and grab the Apply Controlnet, plug that in to FLUX guidance. This will allow us to apply whatever Controlnet we plug in to the image that we're generating. Then to apply Controlnet, we plug in the Load Controlnet model over to Controlnet, and then we take Canny's image output and plug it in to Apply Controlnet. Finally, to Canny, we feed in the source image, which we're going to be basing our Canny off of. In this case, we grab here image and feed that into Canny. And if you want, you can take an additional output from the Canny image over to preview image so that you can have a look at what the Canny looks like. Once that's done, go ahead and grab the conditioning output from your positive prompt and feed that into Apply Controlnet. And that's pretty much it. However, there's one more thing that we need to do before we forget, and that is shift our guidance from 3, 3.5, whatever the default is, up to 4. What I've found is that if you don't do that, you end up with images that have very strange artifacting. So I found that 4 works relatively well for me. Once you've done that, go ahead and organize your nodes. Again, you don't need to do that if you're downloading the workflow that I've provided below, as it'll already be organized. And go ahead and queue up the prompt. And as you can see, we get a completely different image following the same pose and structure of the previous image. Let's go through a couple more iterations so you can see what the effect looks like. And there we have it. You can see a completely different image following the same pose and format as our original one. Now you might notice the visual style and the quality of the skin texture looks considerably different from our source image. And that has a lot to do with the quality of the prompt. To that extent, I want to introduce today's sponsor, Prompt Crafters. Prompt Crafters is a fantastic prompt database designed initially for Midjourney with a recent expansion into Flux. It's a phenomenal table of collated prompts for a whole variety of categories and situations designed to help you find the perfect prompt to get started with creating the image that you need. Not only does it have a table format and fantastic categories for you to go through to find the prompt that you're looking for, it even has a visual database that we can go through to find the perfect prompt based on the visual features that we're looking for. In this case, I want to improve the photographic qualities of my image. So I'm coming here into the photography category and we'll go through the images until I find one that I like. Here's a good one. We can go ahead and open it up and have a look at the prompt. Below it, important keywords such as the art style and important descriptors are separated so that we can find similar images that use those same traits. It also helps us understand what are the key elements of the image so that we can reproduce them in our own prompt. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and grab the entire prompt and drop it into Comfy UI. Then we'll just look at the key elements that we want, simplify it so that we get the result that we're looking for. In this case, I want a full body shot of an attractive woman in a white wedding dress. That's fine. I don't want with a train. I do want off the shoulder, puffy sleeves. Maybe not, because that may not work with our Canny. So let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, now remember, we are using a Controlnet with a Canny, so the prompt that is too contradictory with what we have may not work. But what we can put is standing on a desert at golden hour with her back to the camera. Let's remove that. Let's try that and see what we get. And there you have it. Taking a prompt from the database, making some minor modifications, we're able to combine it with the Controlnet and get a substantially better result. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you really want to help the channel out, come on over and check out the Patreon, where we have ad-free versions of the videos, exclusive workflows for patrons, and if you're interested in the prompt database, we even have a tier that includes access to it. Finally, all of the links for everything described here in the video will be available down below in the description. Thanks, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.